Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to The Art of Photography. My name is Ted Forbes. Last time we talked about using minimalist composition techniques in your photography, and we looked specifically at the work of a British photographer named Michael Kenna. And today I want to kind of do a part two of this minimalism thing, but I want to specifically talk about color. And one thing, I kind of went back through some of the old podcasts, and I tend to show a lot of black and white work, and a lot of that's reflective on my personality because that's the medium I prefer to work in the most. But I do want to hit color, and what's interesting is today we're going to talk about a photographer. This is a book of his, Saul Leiter. And Saul is a extremely interesting photographer. He's an American photographer, and he was part of the New York School of Photographers in the 50s and 60s that included people like Diane Arbus and Robert Frank. And he was known mainly for doing black and white fashion photography. And as kind of a side project to his, he liked to shoot a lot of color work. Now, at that time, a lot of magazine publications, the demand for color was lower because of the printing restraints of the time. And one thing that I think is pretty cool about Saul is that he shot a lot of his personal work, which was not shot for publication. They were just simply compositional studies. He shot work for himself, and which is kind of cool because a lot of this color work he kept in boxes, and it was rediscovered through a series of exhibitions really in the 1990s. And he's kind of known for that today, but he hadn't always been known for that. And I think that's kind of cool because it says something. There's a part of that which was photography for Saul and only for Saul. And it wasn't done for commercial purposes. It wasn't done for ego reasons, things like that. But he has a wonderful style. It's very minimal. Saul was trained as a painter. And so I think a lot of that formal art training comes through in his photography compositions. So what we're going to do is go over to the computer and look at some of his work now and do a little analysis. So come on with me. Okay, so again, we're talking about minimalist techniques in composition, and specifically in this case with regard to color. And one of the things I just love about Saul Leiter, again, you know, I said this last time, but I think when it comes to composition, I think the hardest part is not so much what you're putting into your composition, but what you're leaving out of your composition. And you can see that Saul in this photo gives us just enough to know what's going on. This is a blurry photo of a guy probably walking in the cold, holding his nose. And, you know, you're going to see in here, you know, obviously the yellow streak on the road down here and these red cars in the background, this blue car here. But again, just enough information to tell you a story and paint a picture without, you know, going too obvious with it. It really creates something beautiful, I think. This next photo, and this is kind of another trademark of Saul's work, is giving you just these little slice-of-life compositions here. Obviously the red on this bus is great, and you almost have a red glow behind the man here, but it doesn't matter that you lose all detail in here. He's a shadow, but you see a silhouette. You know, and this nice poster here with Eisenhower's name on it. Anyway, very, very cool stuff. Move along. This one I think is just pure genius here. I could tell you that if I were in the snow and saw somebody with a red umbrella and a red coat, I would probably put them near the center of the frame, or at least look for a golden section or rule of thirds or something like that. And what I love about this is, okay, first of all, in the color spectrum, your eyes, the human eye is most sensitive to the color red. And so what's really cool is Saul kind of just puts her in the corner there. I assume it's a girl. It doesn't really matter. It's just giving you enough information over here with this figure against the snow, and it really stands out and has a pop to it because it uses the color red. But again, just brilliant use of composition. Another technique that you can think about in composition too is if you consider what's typically known as figure-ground relationships. So a figure would be like your subject, it would be an object, it would be a shape, something like that. The ground is simply your canvas. Okay, so the figure-ground relationship. The closer you have a figure to the edge of the ground, the more attention it's going to draw, and the more focus it brings to it, because it's in an odd location. So this is kind of, you know, don't think rule of thirds here, but you know, I think that's another reason the placement of this is so important. You know, again, this is not something I would have done off the cuff, and I think that's what's so great about it, because it's, you know, it's really unusual. Moving along to this one I really love just from the color aspect. It's obviously some people at a newsstand in the snow, probably in New York, and it really creates a sense of drama with the weather, because you have, and we haven't really talked about white balance so much with digital, but you know, you do have white balance with film, color film as well. But you can see that the daylight balance ends up with a more bluish hue up here, and you have the tungsten, or this kind of orange color down here, which really creates a sense of warmth that these figures are warming up to. Again, you don't see faces, but it doesn't matter. It's a great slice of life photo, and I think more importantly, it really creates a sense of you know, you feeling the cold weather in that, which I think is just absolutely cool. Again, here's another little slice of life, little section of a scene here with a man in a taxi cab. Again, the color plays such a huge role in this. This photo probably would work just as well in black and white, but I think the color really adds a nice drama to it that you wouldn't have otherwise. And then finally, the last one we're going to look at is one of my absolute favorites. And again, I think this is what's so great about Saul's work, is he has this wonderful sense of composition, but also abstraction to it. Okay, so obviously you're seeing this through a window on a very cold day, and what creates the abstraction here is not only the writing on the window, but the fog on the window, and that you see this gentleman doing something outside, and then this yellow accent on the background. I just think that's absolutely brilliant. Again, it's more like almost an impressionist painting style, and Saul was trained as a painter, and I think that a lot of that showed through in his composition. So anyway, this has been the work of Saul Leiter. Check it out, and it's kind of limited. You see a lot of the same photos on the web. I would really suggest getting a book on this, and I have a link in the show notes on the website to one. And the reason I say that is because there really is a difference in looking at a well-printed book than looking at something on screen. I think you're going to get a better sense of it, a better appreciation of it, and I do recommend that you try that out. And this is obviously a great book to have in your library. So anyway, this is the early color book, and I'll put a link in the show notes to it. But this has been the work of Saul Leiter. Hope you found this useful, and it's been The Art of Photography. Thanks for watching.